Yeah, they had to be done in March, and they flipped the calendar this year.
Yeah.
So C Corps were April, and S Corps and partnerships had to be March 15th.
How are you?
Did you come out right?
I know.
I've got one. I've got one. I was just wondering if you need somebody to record for you.
Is there, S Corps in there?
As of right now.
I just turned it on.
I'm going to record too.
How is everybody? This is probably one of the smallest packs we've had in a while. I'm thankful that everyone could show up. It's kind of a busy time of year. I apologize. My face last week decided to go half numb on me, so as I talk, just kind of don't pay much attention to it. Hopefully it will get better eventually. So we'll get into some different things. I've got some different agenda today to talk about than what we normally talk about every single PAC meeting. They've decided to change our associates in business administration. And last time, if you recall, we were talking about those nasty one credit pro courses. Hallelujah. Actually, someone at corporate listened, and they're going to pull those out. Not that we still don't need the professional development and career success writing strategies and all of that, but we're going to try to go about it a little bit different of a way. I've made a lot of handouts and printouts in your folders today, and we'll kind of go through those. On top of your folders, you should have had an update from PAC information. So if there's any changes, just please make sure to fill those out for me. And then I'll have everyone sign in on this sheet too, please. And then we'll get started. And I apologize, my light decided to go kind of funky. Actually, I was trying to color coordinate to my tablecloth, but just kidding. So we're going to try this, and if it's too dark, please let me know, and then I can turn on some additional lights. We'll go ahead and get started. Lots of exciting things for giving back to community. I know, okay, that's way too dark. Bear with me. Is that too dark, or is it okay? Can you see it all right? All right. I got it. It's good. Okay. All right, so as we get going here, in your folder, there's a whole bunch of different forms. And so I just want to, again, tell you thank you for taking time out of your day. I've got some students here with me today that have volunteered some time. Lottie, you're out. He is actually one of our instructors. He's volunteered to come in as well and try to engage. I think this is the first time you've been to one of our PAC meetings, isn't it, Lottie? Or at least for my program. And then I guess, actually, I'm just going to have you guys go around the table and just introduce yourself and kind of tell them what you do real quick, just for the new people in the room that haven't been here before. I think you guys know each other really well, the four of you. You're usually always here for me. Thank you. So with that said, I'll just start with Lottie and just let him tell you what he does in his other life as well, because he teaches beyond the school also.
Well, Stephanie just basically said what needs to be said in our opinion. I come from the government. Close to 20 years with them, business analysis, mostly Medicaid and healthcare. I have a background in economics, but I never really got into doing that full time. I was wanting. So, of course, what do? You switch to accounting. I don't mean to insult anybody here. It's a rewarding career. And so on. So I teach probably can be deduct from that economics and I don't teach economics and business classes and also have a degree in history. I teach history. That would pay better forever. That would be a way to go. But a popular career.
And I'm going to throw one more thing in on Lottie. They were talking about certifications downstairs. This is my certification man right here. He is the one that's actively working through Certiport to get students certified in Microsoft Office Suite.
Your application. So to me, I would love to enjoy that.
And see what you think about it, because I know that there's been demand for the certifications out in the career field. So we're trying to get those up and running, and we've had a lot of success lately with students actually passing them. In the past, we hadn't had much success with them getting through, and then I had Lottie take over, and he's done a phenomenal job at getting them up to speed and getting them through one of the first 2 classes that they take here on campus. So, all right, Diana, up to you.
Definitely feedback would be appreciated.
I'm Diana, and I am an accounting major here. I'm majoring in City County. The last meeting that we were here, I was actually an intern at Walmart with one of their internships. I learned a lot from the internship. It was actually really great. However, since I do not feel that my background is going to put me into retail management, I opted to actually go back to work with Blue Cross, where it will help me with the background to get into more of the Faure-King area. So that's what I've been doing. Since you guys have some.
I'm Adam Fuel. I'm a student here at college. And my business major, I haven't quite narrowed it down into exactly which part of business I'm going to really focus on. I'm starting to look at entrepreneurship quite heavily because my intent is to start a manufacturing business around the area. We're making molds and parts for aircraft, cars, whole gamut of things. I'm going to start small. That's
I'm Liz Dean. She forgets, so it always goes on here as Elizabeth, but I go by Liz.
What did I do? Oh,
It's okay.
Oh, they printed them for me. I need to proof them.
That's okay. I manage multiple offices for H&R Block Tax Corporation, and I also write returns, and I do recruiting. I recruit a lot of like folks from Stephen Senator, starting as receptionist, bring them into the tax world. At this point, 100% of the people I've recruited from Stephen Senator as a receptionist are now either into bookkeeping and tax prep or just tax prep. So that's kind of a little success story for you
That's
guys.
an awesome success story. And you'll like the rest of my success story later about accounting because we're now stretching it instead of 2 days. You know how you were recommending? It's now 4 days a week for all the core accounting courses. Okay, thank you for sharing. That's awesome.
Anyway, I'm also out in the community. I like to do tax talks, and I've been here doing a talk with the tax instructor. Everybody needs anything. I'll give you cards.
Coming
I
up
always
Monday.
have cards.
Month 6. I'll send you the email.
Oh,
Month 6.
oh, okay, that's it.
Soon.
Okay.
1 month.
You got it.
Okay.
Good, because I'll be able to breathe by then.
I figured.
Maybe. Been a long season. A short
good.
season, but like the end is just not stopping. Not stop, yes.
You mean I was supposed to file taxes? What?
Oh, maybe.
Who pays those?
Yeah, look at 6 years partnership. Okay.
Thank you.
Gloria Griffith, Affordable Tax Prep and Bookkeeping Services. We're out of Nampa. Shauna and I are owners. And like Liz said, it's been kind of a rough year as far as the taxes go. It's been very odd. People have come in demanding their taxes done now and then refusing to give us information to get them done. So it's been a little bit odd. It's been very rewarding. We've grown. We've now got 2 offices instead of just the 1 office. It's all in the same building, but we've expanded a little bit.
I know you had moved previously before that too,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah. So we've grown a little bit, and it's been interesting. Growing pains are not fun, along with the tax season, and then you've got the 5 years of cleanup on books and stuff for your regular bookkeeping clients. It's a little bit on the hairy side, but we're surviving.
You're still smiling.
Yeah.
And I made it through tax season,
You
right?
can't do much else, right?
Well,
We
you
don't
can.
smile, we'll cry.
Yes. We will curl up in a ball with mom and say,
Yep.
done.
Fetal position.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lyman Belknap. I have a business real estate and estate planning law firm here in town. I've been around for 40 years, except for 6 years in international legal work outside of the country.
I'm Larry Beach. I started business life as an engineer, but quickly decided I preferred management, big project management. And over the last 15 years, I guess, I run my own management consulting firm, helping large companies and government plan and execute projects better. And a lot of that has been going out I am particularly interested in certification for project management professionals. And that's a still strong and growing area. We had some discussions about it a couple of years
Yes.
ago.
I have it in the
Wandered
meeting
off
minutes
the
from last
card.
time, yes.
But still of interest. There's a lot of interest in project management in this area. There's
It's
a very
huge.
effective project management group here that's part of the national, and the certification is really of interest. Anyhow, that's a particular.
Well, we may need someone to spearhead that. So there's lots of changes coming, like I said, in the associates program as well. There's some changes in regards to a couple of the areas of emphasis that we offer, which is the asset management and the event planning and management. They are looking at pulling those out, which only leaves one emphasis area, which is retail sales management. So that would be the ideal time to be able to propose something like the construction
Project
management or project management, one of the two or both.
Actually, a
into
lot
that
of my
realm.
clients were IT management too, and they're large IT projects, which are historically the worst. Need the most help.
Trickiest, yeah, definitely. So there is opportunity for growth in those areas. And like I said, there's been some movement on those pro courses that I was so dead set against last go around. They're great courses. They have good content, but when you make a student take one credit class for 4 weeks, they kind of seem to lose interest in that variable. Not that the information is not good. So we're starting to rework. You've heard Helena downstairs mention that I just did the very first delivery of the professionalism in the CSS 101, and hopefully we'll get rid of that amazing word like, and we'll get rid of, potential employers that are on their cell phones all the time. We'll get rid of those people that you catch napping or calling in sick all the time to work. And I know that's a big epidemic in our career industry anymore. Some of the younger people getting out into the workforce, I'm going to pick on the millennials for a little while. None of us are millennials in here, but they have a much different work ethic than what we do as individuals. They don't understand that even if you are sick, you go to work. They don't understand that even if you don't want to get out of bed, sometimes you just have to get out of bed. And so hopefully my preaching this to them will be a little bit more, and then we're going to try to carry it more into our CSS 299, which is a finishing course as well. They develop industry-specific resumes and cover letters and the references, understanding how critical it is to make sure that they have good references on there. I don't know if any of you had to call and do reference checks lately, but I think that's probably my least favorite thing to do when I hire, so I always email all the questions to everybody. So just making sure that they understand how to read job markets and how to understand job boards, because it seems like there's so many generators. There's no longer this face-to-face communication that we have, like what we've got going on in this room. And it's great that we've got technology, but it creates such a disconnect. The other night I was sitting at home and my kids were around the table and we were getting ready to have dinner, and I get this nice big fancy meal fixed. And my daughter had a couple of friends over, and they're all sitting there around the table, and they were just so in tune to this. And so I had a mom moment. I try not to have mom moments in my classroom, but when I've got everybody doing this in my classroom, I come unwound. I don't know if you guys feel the same way as employers in the career industry, but there's a time and a place for everything. So I confiscated the phones and locked them in my room. I was the worst mom in the world.
Says it's unallowed.
I need to post like little signs like this is a technology-free zone, thank you. I think I'm gonna put like a little warning hazard zone around it. So yeah, so those are some of the things that we've been trying to implement into the school. Like I said, this is probably gonna be a little more relaxed than most of the PAC meetings that we have. Not that I'm not prepared for it, but I just wanna kind of take it a different way. We always take it so seriously. So thank you for introducing. Helena did have this also downstairs for you. Some of our opportunity to give back to the community. It's very important that we give back, and that's one of the things that Stevenson does really well, I believe. There's a lot more opportunity for us. I'm actively engaged with Junior Achievement of Idaho. I also do some stuff for Boise State as well. So I try to get out in the community as much as I can, but lately, I don't know if you heard me when I said I have to step next door to graphic arts. They've added to that to my palette as well. So I'm trying to take care of both of those programs. So I don't get out as much as I would like to into the community. I teach a lot of courses, and Lottie can attest to that. He's teaching quite a bit as well. And so we really get a run for our money trying to get everything done that we need to do. So there's still room in that area. But they did an amazing job, considering it was just a team of 4 individuals, to save people in the community $2,100 or $21,000 worth of filing fees. I think that's really, really good. I know our NAMPA campus, I didn't get a chance to get their numbers because I like to share what NAMPA does as well. How much did they do?
We did close to 300
Okay.
for about 60,000
Thank you.
savings. I don't know about the average return or anything, but I know that when I left last Saturday, David was saying that we were sitting at 292.
Nice.
And that's, Grandpa actually prepares the taxes, not just.
They do the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got an extended
And
program
Grandpa
than what we have here.
the whole thing, so it was
Nice job. Thank you.
quite the day on
Finishing up.
the 15th.
So I just wanted to throw kudos out to them because Robert Cochums and Chris Moore, they both work on our financial aid team. They usually work with the veterans as well, doing all other financial aid. So they're actively engaged in giving back to community. And I'm just really appreciative that they helped me out because there's no way I could do that plus everything else that I do to make sure everything runs. I try, but sometimes I get spread pretty thin, unfortunately. I think we all do. Some of the things that we wanted to talk about, there's been a lot of closures in the area here. It's been kind of scary for institutions to see them starting to slide off the map, between Brown Mackey starting to do a shutdown. They're going to try to teach out their programs, ITT, and then also Broadview. The one positive thing that I can say about that whole thing is not that they're closing, because I never want to see that happen to an educational institution. It's the fact that their directors were engaged enough to care to reach out to the standing schools that were still here and try to help those students network into continuing their education. I know there was a lot of opportunity for them to have their debt forgiven. It was kind of a case-by-case situation depending on the student, on whether or not they wanted to continue education, if they wanted to try to transfer to between schools. But we were receptive to credit transfers, and we didn't put a cap on the number of credits we would transfer. As long as their program description matched what we offered, the door was open to them. So we feel that there's no reason to make them pay for taking classes again when, if that happened to our school, I would hope that another school would open up and do the same thing for us.
What happened that caused,
Department of Education. They're getting very aggressive towards for-profit institutions. Our school is coded as a nonprofit institution, at least according to the IRS, but the Department of Education, left and right hand, they don't talk much. The Department of Education still classifies Stevens Vinegar as a for-profit institution, even though the IRS recognizes us as a nonprofit institution. We've got all the filings and all the approval for that. So that is one of the biggest areas they started attacking. I know that the Department of Ed was after University of Phoenix for a while. They were pretty aggressive, and I think that's why they've seen so many campuses close as well. I was a Phoenix graduate. It was a great education. I couldn't say anything bad about my education. I loved it. I got my MBA through that program, and then I have another MPA through University of Idaho. And apples for apples, I can tell you the curriculum was just as rigorous as the University of Phoenix, so I had no complaints. So at least I had something to compare it to. Broadview, again, was attacked by Department of Education. They started shutting down their programs, accreditation issues. So a lot of these institutions were accredited through ACICS, and they lost their ability to grant accreditation. Department of Education hit them pretty hard with some fines. In fact, I will report to you, we actually had gone through accreditation with them when we were thinking about transferring to ACICS before all this happened. I'm really thankful we stayed with our accreditor now, which is ACCSC.
This is the Federal Department of Education. Yes, so I expect we're going to see some changes.
Yeah, and they're getting really aggressive too with VA loans.
Yes.
So now I think the new requirement for being able, those of you that have filed financial aid forms, they're requiring 2 years worth of tax returns now. They're requiring more information to be able to get your qualifications for your financial aid status as well. So they've really upped the game in that area. But I'm just thankful that at least they've been engaged. And, we've hired a few instructors. I hired someone from ITT Tech about 2 months ago. Brown Mackey, I'm looking at another business instructor from down at that area as well. I just hired another accounting instructor from CWI. So I'm kind of trying to fill my pot with some new adjunct instructors as well to bring a little bit more diversity to campus. Sometimes you can feel like you get the same instructors over and over. And I think that the more I can get in there that can engage differently in the classroom, the more valuable it is for the students, because I don't want it to be a one-man show. How are you enjoying your new classes with different instructors? Better? Because you were going to get me again, but change the pace, right?
It changes. It's a good change. Not
Good changes.
a bad change, but not a bad instructor.
Well, adjusting. But needless to say, so mixing it up just a little bit, but I am thankful that the directors were receptive enough to say, hey, let's get a strategy plan. We've been invited to their campuses. We've actually been down to Brown Mackie. I went down as one of the associate deans and visited with students, and I did transcript evals right there on the spot for them to know whether or not what we'll take, what we can't take. We've had, I can report 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students come down from ITT, at least into the business program so far. It's not a lot, but at least it's a start. I know ITT, we've had a lot go into the IT program as well. We've had a few kind of straggle into graphic arts. It's going to be slow. I don't know if you noticed on our sign. I wish our sign was bigger out there because it's saying all credits are welcome. You know, and I'm thankful too, finally, I don't know if you are aware of it, but NNU, who is usually pretty aggressive in terms of what they will and what they won't take, they've actually opened the door to ITT students as well, and they're being receptive of their credits. So it's nice to see a community pulling together to take care of students, because that's the ideal thing for me, at least, is making sure they're taken care of. Got some different information, you know, what we've done for some of the recommendations that you sent through last time that we visited and spent some time on. You know, reducing the number of accounting courses. Well, no, that's not going to happen. However, I think that if we are able to get more foundation by extending, instead of 2 days a week, they get to 4 days a week. Adam, you'd probably say that'd be a lot better, because I know Adam had went through the first, what, 101 and 102 already?
Yes, I was here every day of the week.
And he lived here where he did it. But I think just setting that foundation is going to be a little bit better. So we have extended it. That was kind of my approach to seeing how that's going to roll out. And it's not just in our beginning accounting courses. I'm going to try to stretch it through payroll accounting. I'm going to stretch it through QuickBooks. We need to go back and revisit QuickBooks again as well, because I'm hearing a mix in the industry, because our online is teaching online and our campus is teaching desktop. And I need to figure out which way to go, because I had students just recently take an online course because they don't offer the 109 accounting course online. And so they were completely confused because they learned part of one and part of the other, and they were completely lost. So I just need to either decide which direction to go to that, if we just want to completely convert to online. But then I've heard there's a lot of issues with security risk. So I'll come back to you guys in a while about the accounting side of that versus the desktop. We did get a Dress for Success Center started. I know that it was just barely at its opening when we had visited last time in PAC. The admissions team has kind of taken that on. Tana Dunn has headed that up. And so we have men's and women's clothes that are available for them. The one thing that I don't have up there is I'm working with Dillard's to try to get mannequins. I don't know if you ever noticed when you go into the store, they've got the nice fancy mannequins. But I think I'm trying to get 4 of them, and they're pretty expensive, but I have time. I've got connections. So I'm going to try to get them to donate them to the school. And then we're going to go out and have like a man and woman professional dress, a man and woman that's professionally dressed for the medical field with scrubs and everything sewn on them, so they can actually see what they need to look like. The big things I've been hearing as well from employers out in the field is the fact that people don't know how to dress when they go to an interview. They don't know how to act. You know, I have a horror story from 4 years ago when I did career services here at the school. I sent one of our top-notch medical students down to interview at St. Luke's with one of the head recruiters down there, and she was an amazing student. I wouldn't have thought that I needed to talk to her about professionalism. And usually Gary would call me and say, hey, you know, great student, I'm going to hire them, they're wonderful. Well, Gary didn't call me. And when Gary doesn't call me, I can go, uh-oh. And so I called Gary the next day and said, hey, how'd she work out? Did you just love her? Isn't she great? And he got really quiet. And silence scares me, okay? With kids and employers. And he's like, well, it would have been great if she wouldn't have shown up with scrubs that looked like they were in the bottom of her dirty clothes basket and fuzzy pink slippers. And I said, you're kidding me, right? April Fool's, right? I said, no, it's the wrong month. He's like, no, I'm not kidding. And so, you know, one of these top-notch students, and she was a performer. She's got many promotions since then. But that's why we started to implement this professionalism in the school, because if they can't see it, if they don't know what it is, if they don't understand, brush your hair, brush your teeth, wash your face, don't put a ton of perfume on when you go to interviews if you're in medical. You know, it goes across the board for business as well, and I've been really preaching to them. I've been doing the CSS 299 course recently, the last probably 3 months for Jody. She's been pretty busy with our G&E, which is a whole nother story we've got to talk about here in a while. But just really imposing the importance of how to engage in interviews. There's a lot of things that need to change in the way students present themselves. And so this professional class now is going to teach them some of the better characteristics. I'm going to start recording them and then playing them back in their interview techniques so they can actually see what's going on and how they fidget, because I know I'm a fidgeter when I talk with my hands, and I know that, and I try to control that when I go to interviews, and understanding that you have to research the industry that you're going into. I mean, yes, you know it. Yes, you've gone to school. But before you go out to an interview, know that company that you're going to, so you can ask intelligent questions about the company when they look at you and go, do you have any questions for me? And you just sit there like a stump on the log. You know what I'm talking about? Have you had those interviews before? They're like, come on, ask me something. What's my favorite color? Anything. So we're trying to work through some of that as well. What else? Changes to improve soft skills. That's kind of what I was just talking about. We have an amazing event. So you had mentioned last time, more community involvement. Well, this is going to be internal, but it's going to be a lot of external. You'll see why I've really kind of spurred this event. It's for our web development students, our business students, and for our graphic art students. And it's going to be coming up on May 17th. So it's going to be a pretty fun event. We're going to be bringing in alumni. We're going to be bringing in current students. We're going to be bringing in a whole bunch of different people. So right now on my invite list, it's sitting at about 100 people. So it's going to fill the campus here. We're going to be serving dinner. I haven't quite decided what we want yet, but I'll get that figured out by tomorrow. Ella wants by tomorrow. So I'll have that done by tomorrow, everybody. So it's kind of something that we haven't done in quite some time. Probably about, I want to say 5 months ago, we did a mix and mingle for the medical program. And we had alumni and PAC members come in, and everyone's invited to come in and engage in it. You know, we're trying to get at least 5 guest speakers together. Right now I'm at 3. I look at you, we're at 3. So thinking about what you can offer, and we'll talk more about subjects and some of the content area that I'd love for people to come in and talk about. Freelance, being able to start entrepreneurship businesses, being able to write contracts. There's so many different things that these students need to know how to do before they get out into the marketplace that maybe they're not getting in the classroom that we need to touch on. A little bit of motivation and inspiration as well is really kind of the message that I'm trying to send to these students about opportunity that's out in the community. And so many times it seems like students get beat down, oh, there's nothing out there. And I'm like, there's a ton of opportunity, you just have to know where to look. And so I'm kind of taking that CSS 299 class on the opportunity to learn how to search for jobs as well, because there's not an excuse for not having a job. We've got some of the lowest unemployment that we've had in I don't know how long. So there's opportunity. It's just they have to be willing to do the work and get out there and do it. So that's kind of the event. And that's what the flyer looks like. Sorry, it's not as pretty as it really is in person. It's got nice fancy spotlights in the background. And so these will be coming out to all the PAC members and students here pretty soon. So Adam, Diana, you haven't seen these come through yet, but they will be coming through. I just got these approved from marketing yesterday afternoon late. So I couldn't get you an original one yet, but this is what they've approved for me to be able to do. We'll probably have a drawing as well. I'm going to try to get Helena to front for a tablet for students to go into for a drawing and see what we can do there. Maybe a couple other gift cards along the way as well. So that's kind of what we've got planned coming up for May 17th. It's a Wednesday night. We're going to run it from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the evening. What else have we got? Internships and incentives. That's still a huge area that remains untapped. There's so much more we need to do out in the community. I know every time I go online, starting about mid-March to the end of, well, it's still going on right now, a lot of students are getting finished up at Boise State and other areas, and there's all these summertime internships available for students. That's something that we're really going to have to work on here in the future, because it's a little bit harder with our students because they're really not out for a summer, but there's still opportunity for us. You got it okay? Holding standards in the classroom. Okay, I'm turning into the ultimate bully, just so all of you know. I used to be probably one of the softest instructors in this building in terms of drop boxes, because I know students have life beyond education. However, I think that by doing that, I'm becoming an enabler to allow students to write their own timelines. And so we're starting to try to crack down on due dates. A lot of you probably noticed you got due dates too in yours now. I turned Bev loose. She's been everywhere. She's been in every shelf. Bev's crazy. She's our librarian. She's our librarian. If you haven't met Bev yet, she's all over it. And then being able to lock it down. So up on the board, I don't think I've ever talked about these before, but there's only mitigating circumstances where students are allowed to turn in work late or to get an extension in a class. And I put them up there, and I can't see them too well, so I'm going to kind of stand over here. All right, so some of the reasons why I would allow a student to turn work in late and they'd have to bring documentation is, number one, death of an immediate family member. That's considered a mitigating circumstance here at our school. illness of an immediate family member, somebody that you're having to take care of, a student illness requiring hospitalization, and we require that you bring a doctor's note or a discharge saying that it's okay for you to return to school. If you're in an abusive relationship, obviously, we'll make accommodations for that. Prolonged divorce proceedings, you know, before I've had students in my classes that one minute they're happily married, the next minute the husband or wife is upset because you're going to school and life kind of changes because you get kicked out of the house and you have nowhere to live. What else have I got up here? Undocumented disabilities that maybe we didn't know about before that they're in the process of gaining information on to prove that. Work-related transfers. So sometimes students may lose their job during the course of going to school and they need to readjust a little bit. That would be a reason why I could grant an extension. Unexpected loss of employment, that's kind of a duplicate. What else is up there? Change to work schedule, financial hardship, and then the loss of transportation. So if students lose transportation to get to and from school, we always try to provide bus passes for students that live close to busing, but you know that our commuter system here in Boise is probably not the best. In fact, I know a lot of our students actually utilize Uber to get to school, which, you know, whatever it takes to, whoops, you okay?
Yeah, build it halfway in the front.
So that's kind of a little bit about why we're trying to lock everything down, and those are some of the open areas. Just so you know, we do have a policy, and it is in our school catalog that talks about what we do and what we do not accept late. So hopefully that helps just a little bit explain that area. So some of the different areas to discuss in here is G&E. I'm going to skip ahead one screen here in just a minute when we talk about this. In your folders that you have in front of you, I have our last year's reporting numbers and our this year's reporting numbers. So I'm going to skip ahead to those real quick. All right, so hopefully you can see these okay. Oh, that's really hard. I'm going to kill the other light real quick. Are we good? So you can see it. I got to make it really dark in here for you to see this part. Okay, there we go. Now I can see it too. All right, so in here last year for reporting, we were in compliance in all of our programs except for in our medical specialties program. All of the business and accounting programs made our graduation and employment rate, which means we hit what Department of Education requires for us to hit for benchmarks. Our associate's degree were required to be at 43, and in our program for accounting, we were at 58. In our business admin bachelor's, we were at 50, and we're required to be at 40, so we were well ahead of that. And then my associates in business was at 57.1, which we're only required to be at 43, so we had some really great numbers from last year's cohort. Our employment rates were amazing. We just had to be at 70. So in our accounting program, we came in at 71.4. Our bachelor's at 100% employment in field. And then my business at 75%. So we were well above the benchmarks there. The next thing though, the next slide I'm going to show you is this year's reporting. So we do not report in until October of 2017 is when the reports have to be in with Jody Short, who takes care of the career services here. So this is kind of where we're sitting. Obviously, we're doing really, really well. Where? In our county. We're already at our grad rate, our benchmark where we need to be. We're sitting at 70%, so we're good. Employment is good. Our business admin, which is our bachelor's, we are in compliance when it comes to our graduation. However, we need 2 more people to be placed in field to be able to meet our employment in field for this year, which I don't think 2 is going to be very hard to get placed. That's a very small number to need to get into the career industry. And then my associates, this one here I'm worried about just a little bit. I only need 1 more to hit benchmark, which is not a lot, but it takes a lot more than what you think in terms of the graduation side of it, because I have to have them through the program and graduated before October 1st of 2017. Right now, I have 4 potential candidates who can hit that mark. It's the fact that they're not currently active students that concerns me. So it's kind of I need to get them back, I need to get them in, and I need to get them graduated. They're very close. One of them, I think, is just 5 classes away from graduating, which would be like 3 mods, 4 mods if they wanted to take 1 class a month. So that's some of my concerns for the graduation side of it. Employment, I only need 1 more, I believe, to get in field. So I don't have any concerns that will make that one. I will share with you, NAMPA just received a letter from the Department of Education and from our accreditor telling us that they are to teach out this program, the associates in NAMPA. They just received it. George and Helen are in the process of preparing a response because out at the Nampa campus, they were not in compliance for 3 years. If you're not in compliance for 3 years in a program, they will ask you to teach off the program. So I wasn't actively involved with the Nampa cohort, unfortunately. I wish I had been. So I don't know if they're going to be able to repair that and fix that, or if they're actually going to make us physically teach it out. There's another program here on this campus that we're a little concerned as well. It doesn't have anything to do with business or accounting, but it's our web development program. We have not been having a lot of luck with that program. And so if you can hear anything or any ideas for that program, it's really important that we figure out a way to address how to deal with it. They have been non-compliant for 2 years now. If we report 1 more year as non-compliant, they may pull that program from our school in IT, which is kind of scary. And then on the crazy side of things, I've actually been kind of poking around a little bit. I'm going to throw this out there. I know it's not really business related, but a criminal justice program. Do you think that we have the demand for that here in this area? What do you think? I know it's kind of out of sorts, but what do you think? Because I have enough degrees to qualify to write the program, and I was just kind of playing with the idea of doing it in all my spare time and proposing it to ACCSC and see if they would accredit it for the program. Because right now, they used to offer it through Brown Mackey, and that program was closed down. I know they still have it at Boise State, and they still have it at CWI. I need to network with some of those instructors. What was that? Yeah, they had criminal justice as well. I think they still do, actually, but it's just online. Everything's online now pretty much because the campus is gone here now, unfortunately.
There's a lot of interest in it, whether or not people actually will follow through once they start.
Well, I think more of it would be skewed towards like the forensic criminal justice side of things. And I know that there's such a huge shortage. I'm friends with one of the police officers that takes care of Boise State, Lieutenant Gallus, and he's sharing how hard it is to recruit officers here in the area because there's just not a qualified applicant pool that wants to do it. Because if you look at numbers and statistics, there's not a lot of great faith in our police right now, unfortunately, if you follow social media and what it's doing to our police forces. So we've got the prison locally here, we've got administrative, we've got probation and parole. So those could all be areas that could be facilitated into either just to start out with an associate's and see how it goes, and then be able to work with maybe the testing center as well for the police testing center here that's out in Meridian. I've got a lot of connections with the police department, so I don't know if that would be beneficial or not to bring something new like that here to the school. I know that when I visited with admissions, they shared with me that, yeah, we have a lot of people ask if we have that program, but we don't have that program here at any of the schools right now. So it's kind of something that's flying in the wind right now, but I would really be engaged in doing something like that. But just thought I'd throw that out there and see what you thought. So any concerns, do you think? Up here, I've got the 24 weeks to reporting. So we've got a little bit of time to get these people in. It can be accomplished, so I'm not too concerned, other than ratting out at least one more person in my associate's program. So I was in compliance last year and the year before. I just don't ever want to find myself in the position where I lose a program. That scares me a little bit. So I've got to focus a little bit more in that area. And that's it. That's what I have for you. There's some stuff that I want to talk about in the packet. I'm going to turn the lights on now so we can go through those. Let me get those pulled up. All right, so in your packet, I put some papers that have some highlights, and I think all yours are highlighted in orange, is the color that Crystal had used. And it just kind of goes in and talks a little bit more about some of our programs. As I had shared, the associates program I was just talking about that we are not in compliance with right now, this is the one that they're looking at pulling out the asset management, and they're also looking at pulling out the event retail set or event planning area of emphasis. So those are going to be gone here. They're not finalized in our catalog yet. They are running those through accreditation to make sure that we have their blessing to do that. But I think it'll be a lot more beneficial. In your packet, there's another great big thick one that is now the proposed program for the associates. It is, I think it's on the far side over there. And that is what the new proposed curriculum would look like with all the pro courses pulled out. I thought maybe you'd want to get a chance to look through some of them. You know, we've had professional success, interview preparation, business communications, etiquette, professional branding, how we present ourselves, job search skills, ethics, diversity, time and stress management, which I think we could all use a lesson from every now and then to go along the way, conflict and negotiation skills. All of these are really viable courses. So how to get those incorporated back into our program without having to do the core courses is going to be really critical, because we have such a big gap in between when we do our first CSS 101 class and when you go to do your CSS 299. It's probably about 4 mods from before you graduate, 4 to 2 mods before you grad out of school. So I think that we need to touch on those in different classes along the way. And so incorporating these variables into different classes to meet the objectives, I think, is the way I'm going to try to implement it over the next 6 months and see how it happens until we get to meet again. But I just wanted to provide you with some reading material to go through and kind of understand it just a little bit more about what we're trying to accomplish in school. You will also notice that before, in the original, it was only 97 credits in the program for the core part of it. We've now increased it to 98, and then there's some gen ed courses as well for an overall of, I think it's 102 or 103 credits off the top of my mind. So it's going to stay really, really close, maybe 1 credit over what it was in the past, but a lot of positive changes coming as long as we continue to grow. Campus is starting to grow a little bit, which is a positive for us. It's been kind of a tough market this last probably year and a half as things have started shutting down, even though we have growth coming in from the other schools as well. So what are you seeing that needs to change in the marketplace? What do we need? Other than disposition skills, know how to dress, know how to talk, know how to do your job. What else do we need? There's so much.
I know for, on the bookkeeping side, you were talking about QuickBooks, the difference between QuickBooks and online and
Yes.
desktop. That, there is a huge difference between the two, and if you learn, if you're learning in desktop and you swap to online or the other way around, because that's where the classes are at, it will make things very difficult and confuse you. So school needs to pick one or the other. We have clients that absolutely refuse to move away from desktop, and then we have clients that won't do anything but online. So it's a mixed bag there.
But for potential employers, for me producing a student to get out there, what do you need? What do you need them to know both? Do you need them to? So would it be better to try to offer 2 courses in desktop and 2 courses in online so they actually get enough foundation to understand it?
Yes.
Or is that overkill? Should we get rid of payroll accounting and slide that in, or put that with payroll accounting maybe? Because I can cross-read classes.
If you could integrate the payroll and QuickBooks, that would probably work out very well, because that, I know as far as the bookkeeping side, because we do the bookkeeping, we do the payroll, and sometimes the employers can make things very difficult for us in running their payroll, because they're like, no, I need this, and so if you could integrate it, it would probably help, and it would give the students a little bit more of a foundation in the processes of how QuickBooks work.
Okay, so if I could rewrite, yes.
One quick thing, when I was tutoring Portland's class,
Yes.
one of the things that they brought up was, well, we're all gonna put this just in the computer anyway, why do we need to know it? And what I explained to them was, I said, well, when you go out there and you're in the workforce and you have somebody come to you and say, well, how did you come to that number, or where did that come from? You have to be able to explain how you get that number.
Yes.
It's not, you're not gonna tell them, oh, I just put some stuff in the computer and it generated it. You need to know how to explain that to them.
Where that number
So if
came
they
from.
integrate it together, they can get both, if that's a thought.
That's going to be huge to get them set up, because I know the prereqs for the accounting, the 103 and the 108 and 109 is going to be the 101 and 102. And so if we can get that crossed over adequately, I think that might help with their success a little bit more. I don't know. What do you see the difference, Diana? Diana takes a lot of online classes. She's in her 300 level accounting courses. and I know you've experienced 300 already, and so has Shauna. What do they do differently online? I'm not as versed in the online. I don't engage with that part of the school, unfortunately, but what did you see works and doesn't work?
There's a lot of reading in the 300 and the higher level classes that if you're staring at a computer screen, you're not going to do it. And you're not engaged. You don't get to ask the questions immediately when they come up. You can email, and yes, the instructor has 24 hours to respond. But by the time you get the response within 24 hours, the question may not have any relevance to you.
You needed it 24 hours ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Does this school do like a virtual classroom?
No.
That would alleviate the non-response where you have more instructors.
Well, we do have Zoom. I guess we could call it Zoom. It's the ability to say, for example, our online instructors, what I'm using right now, I've been recording the session, is the ability to capture a live moment, and students can be sent a link and they can chime in and have an interactive classroom. We do have that capability, and we've been playing with that quite a bit. Online instructors are trying to do that, but if you can't make the live session, unfortunately, they may say, oh, 10 o'clock in the morning on such and such day, and maybe you're a nighttime student and you can't make it. You don't have that opportunity to interact again, and so it's kind of a little more difficult.
A lot of times when they're lecturing, they're going through slides. They're not really showing anything. They're not showing you how to put together some of the formulas to come up with like some of the depreciation. Because I know I went through a week, both classes, both doing depreciation, different times, but I had to make sure that I was thinking correctly between different classes. And that was very difficult. And I didn't have any instruction on how to look at some of the formulas, where they get some of the numbers and things like that. So it was kind of a figure out on my own and do the reading and research and try to figure it out on my own. That was very difficult.
If I may go, excuse me, real quickly to QuickBooks. And especially tax preparation. I'm the old school. And I learned that we had basically real books and you had to look up the numbers. What I remember, we're doing that, but I still like it. But what I say is, with that came really fundamental conceptual understanding of the subject. And just recently, 5 years ago, I was doing my own taxes using software because you do have to. And I realized I don't even remember anymore. It doesn't for me. So the question is, when you're getting a graduate, what do you expect? Do you is that or not? What do you expect? What is coming across? I would like to know. Is it a person with conceptual knowledge, or do you have to teach the person anything about the real side of the tax preparation, not just or the bookkeeping, not just punching the numbers? I mean, is there an understanding of the logic why you do that? That's what I'm asking. Am I too difficult?
Yeah.
No, depends on the person.
Depends on
As to
what
whether,
would you prefer, what would you like?
I would prefer them to have the background knowledge in the bookkeeping and in the taxes, because you get questions from your clients, from your potential clients, and if you cannot answer them in a knowledgeable fashion, you're not going to have them. And
that client goes, you know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Right, we all do that. Yes.
And so if the client feels like they are more knowledgeable in whatever area than you are, they are not going to use you. And the employees have to have at least that basic knowledge in order to answer some of the questions, because we're not always in the office.
Well, if I'm staring at a computer screen and I'm one of these people, I want to know why things are the way they are. You can't
Where's it
just,
going?
That's
Yeah.
good.
And
That's a
where's it
good
coming
thing.
from? You have this rule, where did this rule come from? What happened that made you put this rule together? And then if you're gonna just sit me in front of a computer and say, okay, this is the way you do it, and because that's how we do it, I'm gonna be like, okay, then how do I know what I'm doing is correct? If I don't know where it came from, why we do it that way.
When we run our tax classes, whether it be the initial income tax course that runs about 70 hours, or our advanced classes, the first part of that class is always the law, the theory, the where it goes visually before the student gets on the computer. The unfortunate part, and sorry for bashing the millennials again, but you know, but it's a different. It really is a different mentality coming into the workplace. They think the computer should do everything for them.
Yes.
And now I've got a couple of young ones with me that are great, and they love to explain it. They love to teach their clients about it, why, what's, where. But the majority is not like that. They think, oh, if I just put this in, it's going to go where it's supposed to go. Well, you know.
And it's gonna give you the best result
Well,
too.
of course, don't you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or wait, if you put it in here, of course it's gonna go to that schedule because it's supposed to.
Right.
But you didn't quite put it in the right way. And then you're looking at the tax return and they think it's right because they put it in. But it's not right because something that was here didn't go there where it was supposed to go. So we need the theory and what it should look like. And I'll be honest, I mean, 15 years ago when I took the course, we were even allowed. We were not even allowed, the software was totally proprietary. We were not allowed to get on it or see it unless you were physically hired. So every single thing we did was by hand. So by golly, if you had depreciation, you knew how you got to it. If you had various credits, you knew that it started here with this worksheet and this schedule to translate then to the main tax return. It was done by hand.
So in your business, do you have training software that the school can use to train people for you that can become part of a class assignment that they can work? Is that something you probably have to get through the company more than likely?
Yes, but they probably don't,
Probably
because
not.
everything is pretty good.
Well, that's fine. I was just curious. if
But
that
it's
was
not to
something
say that I
could-
can't visit one of your classes and share some
Experience.
experience.
Well, I was just
Nobody
thinking
said I
that maybe
couldn't talk about it.
and train it. That would be really great to get them actual hands-on training.
But it's a visual, being able to actually do it
Work through
and
it.
work through it is the solid foundation
Yeah.
of understanding.
I'm basically talking about how we educate our people that we're looking to
Like
hire
orientation.
as tax professionals, or our current ongoing continuing education. It always starts out with the theory, the visual. You do it on your own paper, then if you touch the computer.
Lots of room for change there. And then I have an action plan for Larry. Larry probably sees that I've written something
I
on the
did.
board, and he's been chomping at this for a long time. I need to figure out if we can accomplish a project management or construction management within 16 credits. And maybe if you have the opportunity to write up maybe a list of what you would like to see within those comments and recommendations that you could give me for that, it would be 4 classes. So 4 to 12, 16 credits is what can be slid into the associate's program. Not that it couldn't become part of the bachelor's eventually, but this just has a few credits to work with. And if you could give me some follow-up information in regard to the certification link, who we need to contact to
Yeah,
find
there's a
out.
number of certifications, so you could gear the 4 courses. The first
Towards
one
that.
will give them the lowest level, and then the ultimate one is a project management professional. So the collective 4 courses, we cover all that's involved. And it's well laid out. So there's-
So based off in that packet, the one that you've got in front of you right there with the classes, I might have you evaluate that as well and kind of think through there and go, this is one for this should go, where this should stay.
Yeah, there are
And
actually
we
a
can
number,
manipulate.
there are a number of bees that fit in certain areas. Yeah.
So if you would mark all that up and just either scan it, send it back to me, or email me some of the changes, that would be great. I think we need to go another direction. I think the area emphasis, we're not gonna hit enough of the demographic for people that are interested in just getting in the door and getting an associate's degree. So I wanna try to broaden the horizon just a little bit for students here. I mean, we've got our HR management, some of the other areas, we've got our social news, market media, and technology, and everything in the bachelor's, but I think we just have a limited scope for retail sales. That's not gonna do enough for this program. And that's the one that we're losing at the Nampa campus. And I really don't want it to be the one that I lose on this campus for not hitting those numbers. And so we have opportunity. I can change up to 25% of a program without really having to pull a lot of teeth. So 4 classes, it's not 25% by any means. So it should be easy to be able to slide them in. It's just development of the curriculum and making sure that we can start enrolling and getting into our program. So 6 months, a year, hopefully 6 months we get it up and active, but I'm gonna say probably more like a year by the time we do get it.
I'll be happy.
But that would be great to get that feedback. Bill, what do you wanna do?
I've just been sitting here thinking, how can I come off feeling useful in this meeting? Dazzled.
Talk to them about the criminal justice.
Yeah, there was a question while you.
Yeah, you missed it.
He's asking about criminal justice.
Do we need a criminal justice program? No, you don't think it's be viable in the market?
Criminal justice waste. Unless you want to go to work for the prosecutor's office, and they're very limited. State and the law firms, if the law firm is heavy into criminal law, maybe. Most law firms dodge it. They don't like criminal law. And so the few criminal law firms that really are steeped in it, they have their own people's own ropes and coming in with a criminal law background. It might give you the advantage of having a few buzzwords in your vocabulary. But it's not going to teach you the rules of criminal procedure.
Oh, no, not by any means, but what more about more towards police officers, correctional facilities, juvenile detention
Oh,
facilities,
okay. So,
probation and parole, geared that direction. Obviously, it won't touch on the complete legal realm, but that's kind of the
well,
direction.
yeah,
Like
law
an
enforcement,
associate's,
law enforcement.
it's huge anymore. it
That would,
seems.
I would be very narrow in my vision of the whole thing.
Is there a demand out there, do you think, in the community? Because Faure-King have theirs, it's closed down. Brown Act, you have theirs, it's closed down.
Well, if they all had them when they're closed, then
But-
that should tell us something.
Well, Boise State,
That they were
Boise
there.
has them.
I mean, that they had them, should tell us. Boise State has it.
So the CWI think that the program is well out there.
That you go on with the paralegal somehow.
That would be great.
That's what I
Is
would
there
say.
demand here?
Yeah.
Is there a demand for paralegal in the area here? I demand or no? There is. Would you put me together a list? Are you familiar enough with what the requirements are for paralegal?
No, no,
Did you pick your paralegal's brains and find out what they needed?
FBI hat and try to figure it out.
That's your action item. Sam, give how you guys work. You two do team up with Sean.
We're,
You three
we're
can
hiding.
partner up. I might have you guys maybe figure a time to get together for the accounting side of things and have you go over with me, because by no means am I an professional accountant by any means. You know that, Liz. Liz, you know that, but I need
That's
somebody
all right.
that
Just
can look
remember.
at the program
I'll
and
text you
actually
first.
say,
All accounts.
this is important.
Would this be, would this be one of these 16 credit type things?
Yes. Well, it can probably be more than 16. We can probably develop a whole thing, but if we could keep it within 16, that would probably be good for an associate's area. But with paralegal, I'm not sure how many hours are required, or we'd have to play with that a little bit. But if we can check into that and get that information, that would be great. And then I just need you three, my accounting gurus, to come in, and I need you to look at the curriculum in there. There needs to be some broad changes, sweeping changes in accounting, and I'm not an area expert in it, and I will flat out say that I love business, I understand it, but the accounting side of it is my weakest forte. And so you guys could really, like I said, I can provide you all the assignments, the books, if you want to take textbooks, look through it and give me some feedback about what you need to see happening out there. Speaking of books, that was a whole other thing. Our accrediting body requires that we be within 5 years of compliance with our textbooks. And I've been going back and forth with our campus director about, well, they didn't change much, but they moved this to this page to this page. Obviously, in the tax law changes, there's certain things that get added to books. And she has recommended that even if a textbook is 5 to 7 years out of compliance, that I bring it to my PAC members and go, will you look at these and give me your feedback? Here's the current copy, here's the old copy. Do you think I need to buy it? Because textbooks, I love my students to have textbooks. I'm old school, I like paper, not that technology isn't great and all, but sometimes students struggle when they don't have a piece of paper in their hand. And when we're buying books, $350, $375 per textbook, but to me, if they're gonna get the value out of it, but if they're only changing a few things in it, should I just use OERs, which are open educational resources, and make those adjustments so they know there's been those changes and still use old textbooks? Because obviously you can't fiscally replace books every single time because there's a new edition every year or every 2 years that comes out on the book. But just making sure that the students are getting the best credible education they can off the information that we give them, I think is critical. Textbooks change so quickly that it's hard to lock yourself into a book and then still buy another one a year later down the road and offer the same content. So we're starting to look at some of the business books, and I'll send out a list of them as well. And if you're interested in reviewing them and giving some feedback, I'm in the process of collecting the new edition of the book, so then I'll have both. So I can look through and say, okay, this is good, this is bad, we need more of this, we need more of that. Because without PAC members, I don't like it being a one-person show because that doesn't fix anything for students. It's why we get together and why I depend on you guys to be able to help me get this program back on track, get everything navigated. And I think it'll be good to just integrate everything, get back on track again.
One of the most useful little books that I have in my personal library is a one-of-a-kind vocabulary, accounting and legal vocabulary, Spanish. So I'm sitting here thinking, this school needs to offer either English as a second language or Spanish as a second language. Well, and you could build it around the accounting and business departments so that they really don't need to know how to order pizza. What they need is, and I tell this story quite often, there's a place that I eat at, and since there are no millennials here, I like Chuckarama.
Oh, yes, that sounds
And,
good.
and I have to apologize in most groups, but I won't. There's a young lady there that greets you every day if you go, who looks Hispanic, who is Hispanic, who went to one of these schools and got her dental assistant certification and interviewed with the dental office, was offered a job, and as she was leaving, they said, oh, by the way, do you speak Spanish? And her folks had chosen not to keep the mother language in the home, missed a great opportunity, and she said no. And they retracted the offer.
By the way, that's an illegal question in the HR world. You're only allowed to ask do you speak other languages.
Well, how did they word it?
Yeah, because that's
They knew what they were
discriminatory to
asking,
say,
she knew what she
do you
was
speak
asking,
Spanish?
and she, I'm probably embellishing that. Found analysis was she looked the part, couldn't act it, had the job and lost it for the lack of the second language.
I would love to see a second language, and I would love to see it taught. Our demographic. You could drive down the road the other day. I was driving on Overland here. There's an insurance company prefer bilingual preferred, and it seems like job postings. You look through the job postings, bilingual preferred.
A lot of them.
It's
Very
huge.
asking for bilingual.
And the hospitals, huge to them as well. I mean, it's gigantic across the board. And it's something that I think the school needs to look at, but I don't know how we can get a career school to buy off on that, other than the fact that you need it. And we can tell them.
Well, it doesn't even have to be, if it's handled properly, and you use the right teaching materials, and they're motivated, you can teach a lot of language in 3 or 4 months. It doesn't have to be a full-blown new department in the school. It could be one of these certifications. If it's taught the way I teach it, that's on an intensive basis for an hour and a half. Just knock your socks off. And if they don't have any homework, all they have to do is, whenever they're going down the street, every sign they can see that's in Spanish, they pronounce it out loud. They maybe subscribe to or they go on the internet and read Spanish out loud to themselves. Read a newspaper out of Costa Rica. Just those couple of those things plus the class, and they can get an enormous amount of language in a short period of time. And there are some people in this valley that can teach it. Well, I could start it. I could help find the teachers and train them up, which I've done.
Well, I think there is demand, and I mean, this demographic, regardless.
And it's growing. It's not going
It's
to shrink.
continuing to grow, and you have to change and adapt with the times. And when you see those things happening, just like with construction management and everything else, we need to adapt and evolve. If we stay stagnant, we're going to end up going out of business as well, just like every other institution. That you don't stay fresh, you're not current, you're not in demand anymore. So I just really need to look at things a little bit as we get going and move the path and just try to make these changes. And I can only propose and propose and propose to up above that I really think that if I get enough of my path pushing and going, this is what we need, this is what we need. It's not just me saying this is what we need, but I think they might be a little bit more receptive and change. I know I've got a dean's meeting coming up in, I think it's the end of August, and the head people are Julian and Dr. Mackey and some of the big wigs will be there down in Utah. So I'll get an opportunity to be right there with them. And so if I can try to get some of this stuff collected back from you, so I can really just go, here's the plan, here's the proposal, this is what we want to do. And if I can get it in their hands, sometimes an email doesn't work, but I think if on paper, they're old school, I guess, on paper, then you get a lot more receptive feedback than just sending emails. I don't think it's very hard.
I bet you as you get in that meeting with all the brass and start asking around, because of where that meeting is happening, ask how many of them speak a foreign language. Just ask them, and you're going to find some of them, at least one that speaks Spanish, real life, who has the vision.
And someone will buy in.
It would ring true with whom it would ring true.
Well, I just think they really need to assess. I mean, everywhere's demographic is a little bit, but here is so predominant.
Utah and Idaho.
In this area.
It's even worse in Utah.
Oh, it is. I haven't been down to Utah for a long time.
Oh, the Hispanic community in Utah is just exploding.
Really?
And Idaho is second to it.
Second to Utah?
In the
Really?
Northwest, yes.
I didn't know that. All right. Well, with that said, I think I've got everything that we needed to talk about out there, but I need some change. I need some new things for these students to be able to get involved with and get engaged with. And Lottie wanted to visit a little bit more about Certiport and some of the certifications. So if you guys have some time to visit with Lottie, that would be great. Or if you want to share any more.
I could share a lot, but I mean, comment towards everybody. I like your suggestion about the foreign language. There's so much of a factor of probably 3 different foreign languages, and I know that they do it wrongly. Well, once you really go through it, you say you're wasting so much time, and an enormous amount of time. But what you're asking for is so heavily targeted. I mean, I'm an optimist. I would say, luck. Somebody signs it, and I 100% recognize reason and the need for it. Because it's definitely, if you're talking to one of the humanitarians and a business people, they don't speak the same language. They think they have to, but there's really no need for the language. Professionals, if I may call it, for the lack of a better term. So I understand 100% with the terminology and everything else. It's not that difficult. And so you entertain everybody. I mean, the first question about learning the foreign language. Long time ago, believe it or not, I was studying physics and so on. I had a really, really great PhD in physics. Somehow survival of the turmoil and so on. And out of those things, we have to learn the foreign language. And he says, so basically, you just learn the basic grammar, 2,000 word vocabulary. And then you need to go to the country. And then you need to go to the liquor store, get a bottle of booze, drink it. So you're not shy anymore. Go on the street and start speaking. I don't know the truth though right now. You know, it's just.
Let me tell you the truth of that. It's much easier. I've experienced it personally, so I'm not talking. It's much easier to teach a foreign language, at least Spanish, that's the one I did, to the California extrovert than the shy Idaho introvert who's afraid to make a mistake. I whispered into the ear of a granddaughter Sunday. Their family's going to Mexico on a kind of a humanitarian mission with their school. The church is sponsoring, and then they're going. My son-in-law plays their organ. Even though they're not members of that congregation, they're going. And I just whispered in her ear. I said, "Now, you want to learn Spanish?" She goes, "Okay." There's only one thing between you and knowing Spanish. It's a million mistakes. Now start making them as fast as you can.
Yes.
I have to say that my in-laws speak both Italian and Spanish, and they just got back from their winter in Mexico, and they were talking. They would listen to these people talk to them, and they would talk to them in Spanish, and my mother-in-law would inadvertently speak back in Italian to them, and they're like,
What was that?
they're like, where'd that come from? So yeah, so you're gonna make a mistake, do it. You learn from it.
I used to tell them, shoot your mouth. I mean, you don't want to be obnoxious, but shoot your mouth off. That's why I mean, you can do a lot to teach yourself. Just going down the road, you see that sign, Taco Bell. We'll pronounce it in Spanish, taco, instead of Taco Bell. Taco. And pretty soon, it's starting to, you're training the ear, the mind, and the tongue all at the same time if you do it out loud. That's my real pet peeve is people who try to learn a foreign language silently. That doesn't click.
Just on the foreign language. I took Spanish in high school, and I used a little bit of it while growing up. I'm from Utah. I built 427 to 289 Cobras for Shelby, Trick Motorsports for a little while, and his whole staff was Hispanic. My Spanish started coming back, but the problem I had with the foreign language was when I went to Iraq, is I learned Arabic better than I learned Spanish because I was there. And I was there a lot shorter of a time, but the intensity, like you said, the intensity, I had to know the language because bad things could happen if you didn't. Learn to help people get their hands up here, or drag the open your trunk door, and that stuff's still fresh in my mind. For my Spanish is really, really weak. Even though I worked at the car manufacturing place, I only talked to those guys when I needed to. 90% of his staff was Hispanic. They spoke English, and they also spoke Spanish. Very successful car manufacturing, but the thing about his business is he speaks more than one language. Fluent.
Well, when your life depends on it, I can understand
It changes. But I worked down here at the O'Reilly's on Broadway, refugees, right? So they bring the refugees in, these guys walk in and they don't know how to buy a car battery. You know, and I can speak enough Arabic that I can sell a car battery to an Arab that can't speak English. So
That's great.
Yeah, it's all about exposure. All right, well, I just have to collect a few pieces of paper from you about your updated tax information. If anything's changed, you guys all have your action items. I'll send you over, I'll just email some of the tasks. I don't want to do them all at once, but I think if we started progressive work through them, then I can some of the implementation and start getting those out that next week, right?
I need to spend this.
There is a seat. Yes, please. And then everyone signed the sign-in sheet, right? It was going around. Are we good there? I do appreciate everyone coming today. I know it was extra time out of your day to get here. Are you okay? Yeah, we're good. We're good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What is this?
Okay, thank you. I'll get some.
I think it would be really, really good. Okay, that's fine. That's great. Thank you.
I was from the
How you doing, Miss Diana? Good. How you doing? Good meeting. Awesome meeting.
Positive.
I think.
Well, there